Hello, everybody. Welcome to Ballin with Bill here at Sideline Power. I have a special guest who's on a run. Has got a big game this weekend. Reed Manstedt from Waverly High School. Great to have you here, Coach.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, let's talk about last year, finishing up a little bit with all the stuff, and then we'll kind of lead into this year. So, talk about last year's season and then how you went through COVID a little bit, and then now you're kind of back to normal. Everybody's at games, and you kind of feel you feel like a regular season right now. I mean, at least it does when I go to a game. It feels like normal.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Last year I think the biggest thing was we were just happy we were one of the fortunate teams that were able to get 9 regular season games in.
You didn't miss any.
There was a lot of teams in Class B and just across the state that missed games and had to cancel games or had a team cancel on them, and we were fortunate enough. We had a couple kids have to miss a game or so because of COVID, but we did not have any massive outbreaks or anything that set us off where we had to miss a game or anything like that. So that was really nice. And so really happy for the kids because, going into the season last year, we didn't know. I mean, it was a deal where we thought there was the potential that, we could play 5 games. We thought there could be a potential we play all our games, or we thought there was the potential we could play 0 games.
Right.
And so to get, our team, we made it to the quarterfinals. So to get to play 11 games like we did was a huge success, credit the kids in a tough year and in a unique year with all the stuff that we were having to do off the field. I was really proud of the way our team came out and competed. And I think if you ask the boys, they would tell you, that they were disappointed in the season, which I think says a lot about kind of, where our kids want to be as a program. That making the quarterfinals is a little bit of a disappointment, but with that being said, as their coach, I'm extremely proud of them, and I appreciate the way they always compete and represent their community in a very good way. So
awesome. So I do this radio Friday night show on the Boomer Radio 94.5 from 9 to 10:30, and we do a wrap up.
Yeah.
And when we talked at the beginning of the year, we talked about you. We thought you had one of the toughest schedules in Class B.
Yeah.
From top to bottom, so talk about that. Because I looked at it, I said, you got a game every week where it's really important and kind of cutthroat type season for you.
Well, and we've talked a lot about that. And first off, it is a tough schedule. We open up with Elk North, who that's a very up and coming program. Their record is not, a good indicator as to how good of a team they are because they're an extremely good team. I could very well see them getting in the playoffs, getting on a run here to end the season. But then, you start off with teams like Omaha Skutt and Elkhorn, and then you throw in Beatrice, and it's definitely now Plattsmouth this week, and it's a tough schedule. But at the same time, you can kind of look at it one of two ways. You can look at it and say, shoot, you got to play this big tough schedule,
Mm-hmm.
But the way we looked at it is we want to make the playoffs, and we want to be a playoff team, and we kind of looked at those as we were going to play a bunch of playoff teams to start, and it's going to give us a good indication as to where we're at as a team. And I will tell you this, though we lost to Skutt and we lost to Elkhorn, those 2 losses pointed out a lot of things that we needed to improve on as a football team. And had we played some teams that we were able to just, steamroll 49-0 and our starters play half the game,
right.
I don't think we fixed some of those issues that now we've worked on and fixed. And we're better because of it. And so there's no doubt the tough schedule. It's a lot easier to look back at it right now at 4-2 than if we were 2-4 to say that. But with that being said, it made us better, and I think we're playing good football right now because of those tough games.
Now, one of them you lost in overtime, right?
We lost.
Double.
It was
a double. It was an exciting ball game.
It was.
So kind of talk about that a little bit because.
Yeah, our
that was kind of the game of the week that week.
It was, and I think it was number 1 versus number 2 with Omaha Skutt. In those games as of late, have become really fun. I think for both programs. We've played them now in my 3 years here at Waverly. We've played them in the semifinals once. We played them in overtime twice. We've played them, 2 times my first year. So we've played them 4 times in the last 3 years, and 2 of them have gone to overtime. Another one was a game that was in the semifinals, and then last year's game we won 17-7, and that was a close game. It came down to the last couple possessions, and so it's really become a fun thing between the 2 schools, I think. And I always say that, anytime, you can kind of call Omaha Scud a rival, if you will, that's a good thing, because that is the premier program in Class B. And if you want to, be a contender, you got to compete against that team first. And Coach Turman does a great job there. And they're always really well coached, and those are always fun games. And so the last couple of years, and this year was no disappointment. I think we were up 8 points in the fourth quarter, and unfortunately, they got us there in overtime, and so credit to them for that. But again, like I said, that I think we got better, from that game. It pointed out a lot of things, as Coach Turman and his staff will do, that you need to improve on. And we were able to fix some of those things going forward.
How many you have returned so far from last year to this year, as far as kids have played and contributed last year in your program?
Yeah, so a lot of contributors, but starters about 6 on offense, 7 on offense, and 6 on defense. And so we returned almost our entire offensive line, however, and our starting quarterback and a starting receiver. However, we did graduate from last year's team. About 2,000 yards worth of production in the running game. And I think that that was another thing is, we had a lot of running backs to start the year who just hadn't taken varsity carries. And those guys have just only gotten better week in and week out. And I think that that's a lot of what you're starting to see now too, is you're starting to see our run game get going, which was pretty absent the first 3 weeks, which is something we hang our hat on. We want to be a run team, and we were not very good at it to start the year. And so that's something we, focused a lot on with our offensive line, cleaning some stuff up, focused on with the running backs, focused on with us as coaches. And I think that, like I said, that tough schedule forced us to examine that, because maybe some of those issues that were there, we wouldn't have noticed if we were playing against teams that we don't see that against. And so it forced us to improve and improve fast. And, we got some running backs. We got about 4 kids right now that I feel comfortable with carrying a football.
Do you really?
Yeah, we really do. And
talk about that a little bit. That's interesting, because you didn't play them last year, and then all of a sudden you find 4 this year as you're doing it.
It's
that's got to be a little bit of credit to your offense. Speaking of an old lineman here, it's got to be a little credit to the little big guys. Right?
There's no credit. Those guys get a lot. All the success we have starts and ends up front. You know what I mean? If that group struggles, we're going to struggle. If they're successful, we're going to be successful. Right. And when I look at our tailbacks, we got, like I said, we got 4 kids. I'll start with our seniors, but we got Eddie Johnson, who starts for us at fullback, and Eddie's rushed for over 100 yards, I think, in 2 of the last 3 games, and really had a big game for us against Grand Island Northwest. He came out and ran for 135 yards and 2 touchdowns, and that was big, and so we needed that. And so Eddie's kind of gotten us going a little bit in that, and so he's really stepped up as a senior. Another young man who missed a couple of games because of injury, his name's Garrett Jenkins. He's a senior, and he's really done a great job of coming in. And last game, he, I think, only had like 6 carries for 80-some yards, because that's all we needed him to carry the ball. We didn't need him to take it 20 times. Then we got another young man named Preston Harms, who's done an absolutely fantastic job stepping in, and this is his first year playing running back, and so he's making a switch from wide receiver to running back, and he's just starting to kind of hit his stride, and he's looking the best, in my opinion, he's looked all year as well. And then we got a sophomore who had a breakout game against Grand Island Northwest. I mean, he's got a load of talent. He's got a load of talent. His name's Evan Castens, and he came out against Grand Island Northwest and ran for, I think, 140 yards and 2 touchdowns as well on his first start ever. I mean, we see the talent that he has in practice and stuff, and we thought, all right, let's give him a shot because of some injuries, and he really just burst onto the scene, and in my opinion was a huge part of why we were successful in Grand Island Northwest. Unfortunately, he got injured that game with the back and has not played the last now 2 weeks, and so we actually, I think, will get him back this Friday, hopefully. But he's a kid that he's a difference maker for us, as are all the other guys. But it's been fun watching that group who didn't have a lot of experience. Like I said, I mean, not one of those kids had over 3. None of them had over 1 meaningful carry in a varsity game a year ago.
Wow.
I mean, they got some time at the end of games, but not one of them had some, true varsity meaningful carries in that. We, had Evan Knoyer and Zane Schwang last year, and they took all of them. And so to see that group kind of start evolving has been fun. But as you alluded to at the very beginning, it starts and ends with the guys up front, and those guys are.
It's nice to have all them returning. Correct?
Yeah, and that's a group we wanted to hang our hat on to start the year. You know, we knew going in that they had a chance to be pretty darn special, and you know, we had to clean some stuff up there, and you know, that was us as coaches, and also you know, them as players, and we've been able to do that the last couple of weeks, and I think that shows.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing I've noticed is you running game wise. I've noticed you guys have collected a lot of yards during the year.
Yeah.
You just didn't realize what you're all doing. How is IR wise, injury wise? How's that going? Because that's when you know, Mark and I talk about that. It's the same in the NFL, college. When you get guys, when you get some of your studs hurt. Yeah. It makes it tough, and who you bring up, what do you do, how do you move things around, and all that stuff to fit the void.
We've had injuries this year. I'll be honest, it's been as injury plagued a year as I've had.
Really?
As a coach, which isn't a credit though to our depth.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we have I think 126 kids out for football 9 through 12, which is big numbers for Class B, and we've got 84 kids on our varsity roster, and so. Of those 84 kids, you know, there's a lot of kids that are proven that can play good football for us. You know, our JV team is undefeated right now. They're 6-0, I think, on the year, and so a lot of those kids on that JV team have had to be thrown up into some of the varsity. And you know, some really key ones that stand out is Trey Jackson. You know, he's a young man who against Omaha Skutt, our starting quarterback. Threw a touchdown pass to a receiver with like a minute left in the game,
really?
And in that play had something pop in his leg, and unfortunately he didn't get to participate in overtime or the next two games. We played Elkhorn the next week and Grand Island, so we had two big games coming up, and we had a young man by the name of Trey Jackson step up at quarterback and just do, you know, a fantastic job of coming in and
impressive.
Yeah, did a great job coming in and just managing the game for us, managing the offense, and you know, he looked like a vet out there for the first time, making his first ever start, and did a really good job. Did a really good job, and so he was kind of the first one that I think of when I think of kids stepping up. But you know, other ones is you know, I go back to I mentioned Evan Castens. You know, he got that first opportunity to come in and play at running back because Garrett Jenkins, one of the young men I mentioned, had an ankle injury, and that kind of gave Evan his opportunity, and that's when he ran for the 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then when he gets injured, Garrett Jenkins steps back in, and so does Preston Harms, and able to do that. And we've had a couple injuries at linebacker as well. You know, we had our
platoon quite a bit. Are you able to platoon there?
We if we have two kids that are of equal, we'll, you know, if say a kid starts on offense and defense, he's got a kid that's of equal, we feel talent, we'll probably start the one who doesn't start on offense. But at the end of the day, we want our best players on the field, and that's my philosophy. And if you're our best linebacker and our best running back, you're going to play both. If you're our best DB and our best quarterback, you're going to play both. And so we do not two platoon. But we do have kids that just play both ways.
Do you have your quarterback playing both ways?
We do. He's a starting safety for us.
You never get nervous about that?
No, I don't. I'd be honest with you. Like I said, I'm confident. You got to have your best. You know, he's a leader for us too. Our quarterback is, and we want that in the secondary. And our quarterback's name is Cole Murray, and he's a leader for us. And Cole wouldn't like that too much if I was taking him off the field on defense too much. He'd let me know about that. So
well, that's good.
That's good. Which is
he a pretty good safety too? Then
he is a very good safety.
He probably makes all the calls for you and gets you lined up right.
Does a great job, and we're a very pressure heavy team, so he runs a lot of man coverage. Does a great job there. And then Cole also comes up and does a really good job in the run. He does a really good job in the run support.
Not afraid to put his nose in there.
Yeah, exactly. But, we had some injuries at linebacker. We had a young man, Brock Gleason, he's a senior for us, dislocated his shoulder and tore some ligaments in it against Grand Island Northwest. And we put his backup in, Kemper Reed, and 2 plays later, Kemper breaks his leg. So then we have to throw our third string middle linebacker in there. And wow. I tell you what, the young man's name is Charlie Johnson, and he has done an absolutely fantastic job. And that is such a credit to him. That he, this is what's most impressive, is Charlie took hardly any varsity snaps with us and then gets thrown in there and knows the defense as well as anybody we have out there.
Well, that's a good job.
Can make all the calls,
and
that's a kid who's just paying attention when we're going through stuff, and when his number's finally called, makes the most of the opportunity. So that's really cool. It was a really cool thing, and now he is. I'm looking around, going, "Gosh, how can we take this guy ever off the field?" I mean, he just does a really good job of communicating. And you know this, your middle linebackers in any defense have to talk. And
him and the free safety.
Yeah, they all do. I mean, and those two middle linebackers we got in there right now are definitely talking with each other and chit chatting, and to be able to say your third stringer's in there and being able to do that, and he's doing a great job. So he's made the most of his opportunity. And there's many others. We've had other injuries and other kids have stepped up. So it's been although an injury plagued year a little bit, it's been really cool to see some of those other kids step up and make the most of their deal. And it says a lot about my assistant coaches, because by no means have I prepped those kids. I'm worried about other stuff, but our assistants, our JV guys, our position coaches have just done such a great job of preparing those kids and getting them to know what to do, so when their opportunity does come, they're ready. So that says a lot about those guys too.
Yeah, no question. Hey, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
I would recommend Sideline Power to anybody.
I think it's a great product. It's a great company to work with.
I would highly recommend Sideline Power to any coaching staff.
I definitely would recommend Sideline Power to other teams.
I would recommend Sideline Power absolutely to any teams that were in need of technology. Sideline Power is great because they just offer such a diverse product line. They're kind of a one-stop shop. We can go to them for everything from video equipment to communication equipment. Just about anything you need for your football program, you can get from Sideline Power.
It's been crystal clear. We haven't had any issues. We charge them up, we put them on. I expect when I get to the game, the stuff to be done. I don't have to worry about that stuff. I just want to put it on. I want to talk to my guys. And that's really all I want to do. And right now, I've been able to do that all the years we've had Sideline Power.
All right, everybody, welcome back here to Ballin Bill Sideline Power with Reed Manstedt of Waverly High School. Hey, I tell you what, Coach, this is a big weekend in Class B. You got 1 versus 2 and 3 versus 4. Let's talk about both of them. Let's talk about you and Plattsmouth, because Plattsmouth has been on a roll. You guys have played really well. It's a big game. Bob Dezuris coaches those kids up well, just like you guys do. It should be an exciting game, so let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. It'd probably be a pretty fast game because both teams like to run the football.
He's got a good running back too.
You're
running back
as good as anybody will see.
Successful running the football.
Yeah, their running back, Christian Estes, is as good as anybody we're going to see this year. We and it preps us even for the next week down when we play Isaac Krotzel at Creed, who's a dang good running back too. And so we got a couple weeks coming up of really good running backs. And but to talk about Plattsmouth a little bit, I mean, anytime you're going to play Plattsmouth, it's going to be a physical football game. And that's the number one thing going in. And our kids are well aware of that. If you asked our kids that, they would say, well, they're going to be physical. There's no doubt about that. And I Coach Dezuris is, in my opinion, one of the great ones out there. I mean, I think the world.
I think there's
a
lot of good coaches. A lot of you guys do a heck of a job.
Yeah, I think the world of him. I knew him all the way back when I was in high school, and he actually recruited me when he was a coach at Midland University.
Did he recruit you?
Yeah.
Where did you go to high school at?
Wahoo High.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I've known Coach.
Did we
Dezuris.
recruit you?
I don't remember.
I should kick myself if we did.
No, I'm sure you did. Maybe I don't know. But he dates back to that, and he's
I know Bob real well.
yeah, he's as good a dude. I always, and he's full of knowledge.
Yeah.
I always enjoy talking to coaches, older than myself, and kind of gathering knowledge from them, because there's nothing that I'm going through that they haven't experienced 10 times or seen 10 times, and so it's really fun to kind of learn from those guys. And Coach DeZuris, in my opinion, does as good a job at Plattsmouth as anybody does in Class B. I think he's always got those boys prepared. I can't think of the last game they've been blown out in. They're always always physical.
Both
they're always
games, yeah.
competitive. They're always well prepared. Just does a really good job. And so I think, like I said, I think very highly of him. And so I know that come this Friday, we'll have a ball banger on our hands, and it'll be a tough physical game for 4 quarters. And they like to run the ball, and we like to try and stop the run. That's kind of what we hang our hat on. And so we're definitely looking forward to that opportunity. And last week was a good build up for us, because Beatrice is a very
They're
run
very
heavy
physical
team.
too, yeah.
Very physical, very big line, and it was definitely a good confidence booster for our boys to come out and have a good successful week last week against Beatrice, building into this one, because we knew that this one's going to be even more. So.
I mean, you got everybody back, or you still got a few out for it?
Got a couple kids. We actually got a linebacker back this week, an outside linebacker who had separated his shoulder in our soap scrimmage to start the year, and so he came back last week a little bit, and he's easing his way back in. And so having him back, like I said, I think the tailback's going to be back, and so that's really good for us too, just from a depth standpoint. So we got most of our guys back, but like anything, we've had a lot of kids step up and play, and so we'll see. But it should be a fun game.
Barn burner.
Yes, absolutely.
Physical. Is it? You got it at home, or are you down there?
We're down there. So we'll head down there.
All right. Now you got a lot of things going on at your facility now, don't you? Are you getting new turf and stuff?
We got it. Yeah, we got
it.
the new turf, and so that's been fantastic to have.
But that's been wanted for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, that goes back to when Coach Williams was there.
Right.
He kind of started that whole turf foundation thing, trying to get that committee set up, and then fast forward, and almost 10 years now from when they first started fundraising for that. We got the turf, and it's beautiful, and it's nice. It's very, very nice, and so it's great to practice on. We had practice on the grass field. Right, we had practice on the grass field yesterday, because our middle school had a home game, and we're out there, and now we're spoiled. Now we're spoiled. We used to practice outside every day, and
Right.
you didn't think anything of it.
Right.
You went out there and you practiced, and now we went out there and we're like, God, this ground's hard.
Hard.
Yeah, like, gosh, we're not cutting as well. And so now we're pampered now. And so but it's been really, really nice to have. It's a beautiful. They did a fantastic job.
It just started this year, right?
Yeah. Yep. This is the first year. So
Awesome.
yeah.
All right, 1 versus 2. What are your thoughts? Elkhorn's, they lost a lot of guys, but they're still playing good right now, as you well know. And then you got Bennington, who's just been on fire.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to, Elkhorn's always so well coached,
Right.
and I know Coach Wortman retired, but it's like they never missed a step.
No.
You know what I mean?
Doesn't
we played
seem
against
like it.
them
No,
this year
played-
and
yeah.
lost to them 13-14, and you'd have swore Coach Wortman was on the other sideline still coaching. They still did everything
Like
the
he
same
did.
way. Yeah, I mean, it's so credit to them. So the one thing I'll tell you is Elkhorn's not going to go in there and get themselves beat. They're
No.
going to be they're going to take care of the football. They're going to focus on clock management. They're going to play good defense. It'll just be a really tough task for them to try and slow down Bennington, because in my opinion, watching Bennington on film from teams we've played, I
Right.
put Grand Island Northwest, and then just as a coach, you watch film of other teams, and they're the best team I've seen so far, top to bottom, just with what they can do in the run game, pass game, and some other stuff. And so that's going to be that'll be a tough task. But if anybody can do it, it'll be Elkhorn. And so that'll be a good game. I won't weigh my opinion on it.
No,
but
I just think it's like
It's
your
gonna
game.
be
It's
a-
going to be a barn burner.
Yeah.
I think that the key is they got to slow down that running back.
They
'Cause
gotta, yeah.
He's been on a roll every week.
Absolutely, absolutely, and obviously too, there's always other sides of it. I don't know their injury reports. If for all it would take, is one key injury on either team to maybe change that game a little bit.
That's what happened to Scott last week. Their quarterback was out, and
I don't.
I
don't know if he's out for a while or not, but obviously that changes them.
Well,
having played against
one
him,
kid,
yeah, I can tell you now. I feel a lot better about us pulling out a win in week 2 earlier this year if they didn't have him, because gosh darn, he's a talent.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, an injury can change a game
right
like that. And so we'll see kind of who's healthy, who's not when those two play each other here on Friday. But Coach Lenhart does a great job up at Bennington as well. And
I think he's taken that program to a different level.
Oh yeah, he's done it absolutely. His scheme offensively, defensively. He's got, I think I was talking to him in a JV game, and I think they got like 124 kids out for football.
Do they
too.
really?
So they're similar.
That's
to
like
us.
a Class A.
Yeah, I mean,
you guys are.
Yeah, we got 126. They're right
there
there as well.
Right there too.
Yeah, and so and in Class B, that's
pretty damn good.
That can win you some football games for times like we're talking about where the depth becomes an issue,
right.
And so, I don't know. That'll be a really good one. I think. I'll say this: if Bennington comes out and wins big, that's the team to catch. There's no question about that. But if Elkhorn can hang in there with them, then I think there's in my opinion, getting into the playoff picture. There's about 8 teams right now.
Oh, I think so too in Class B.
What people are forgetting is
you're more stacked than Class A right now. In my opinion.
There's that town out, West Aurora that not a lot of people are talking about right now.
But they're good too.
And that's what happened last year. And then next thing you know, they're in the state championship.
Right.
And so there's about 7 or 8 teams that I could honestly say I could see being in the state championship, us included in that, and that's what's exciting.
Yeah.
But that's what makes Class B fun. It really does.
I mean, I think I look at Class A 1 through 8, and I look at you guys 1 through 8. I think B's stronger 1 through 8.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah,
no
I would agree.
I think like A's probably top 4.
Yeah. It's a really unique year in Class B as well. You're going to end up with maybe 7 teams or 6 teams that go 7-2 or better. And then after about you get to the top 12 teams, it falls off a little bit with some 4-win teams, 3-win teams. But there's just a lot of teams this year that are going to end the season with 6, 7, 8, 9 wins. And
right.
So it'll be interesting to kind of see how it all shakes out with the playoffs and whatnot. But I really think that there's about 8 teams that could potentially
win it all.
Win it all. And
attrition's going to be really important.
Oh yeah.
I think so. When you got teams that are that close and very strong, attrition's going to be the big key.
Yeah.
How you stay healthy, how you recover.
You got to stay
stuff.
healthy. I mean, I'll use Bennington as an example. I mean, they were a team last year that we were looking at, and I thought for sure they would be in the state championship. They had some key injuries take place,
right.
and it changed it. And that's high school.
I remember that happened.
That's football in general, but that's for sure high school football.
Right.
And that same thing could happen to any team this
right.
year. We're all one injury away from not being as good as you were going into the game, and
right.
so. We'll kind of see who all. I'm sure there's already teams out there right now that have been affected by that could have maybe made a run at it, but they know they probably won't be able to because of some injuries.
Right. I mean, that's what, when you're this close, that's going to be a big key for all you guys.
Yeah.
So we haven't had a chance here. Let's talk about your defense and how they've been playing. And
yeah.
Some stars on your defense, because we talked about offense and offensive line. So let's give the defense a little hurrah here.
Yeah. I think we always hang our hat on playing good defense at Waverly. That's something that we want to do. We always talk about that. When teams play us, we hopefully they say that you're going to play good defense this week, and we hang our hat on that, and we always say our best athletes are going to play defense. Sometimes people think, well, we're going to put our best athletes on offense, and then the leftovers are for defense, and so
it'll be a track meet if you do that.
Yeah, and so my personal philosophy is we're going to put our best 11 on defense, and
right.
We'll go from there from that standpoint, but. It always starts up front, right? I mean, it always starts up front. We're very blessed with 4 really good. We rotate 4 young men up front on our D line, and it starts with Trevor Brown. Trevor Brown is a super stater. He was a super stater as a sophomore, super stater as a junior, and he'll be a super stater again as a senior. And so starts with him, and the great thing about a Trevor Brown is you kind of know people, he's so disciplined. He does great. You can't trap him because he does a great job, and you can't run at him because you can't move him. And so it's really good because you kind of know teams want to go away from him. And so if you can, once you kind of know that, it helps you as a game planner as well. But it starts with Trev, and he does a fantastic job for us up front. He's smart, he's physical, he sets the tone. And I feel confident in any game as long as Trevor's on the field. And so that's a good thing. And then Wyatt Fanning is another young man that we've had to really step up great for us on the defensive line. Has made as many plays as anybody, I think, for us. He just got an interception as a defensive lineman last week. He's a leader for us on and off the field. Just does a really good job. And Wyatt's been, I'm really happy for him. He's done a heck of a job this year on both sides of the ball. But defensively, he's really been a difference maker for us this year. And then Jacob Crowder and Quentin Castens are two other young men that we played that have both done a really, really, really good job. And so that's kind of our interior guys. And, we run a 3-4, but it looks like a 5-2 because we roll up our outside linebackers a lot. And if you don't have good tackles and good outside linebackers, you can't run this defense. You just can't because they're going to get washed down and kicked out. That's just the way it is.
Right.
And so, our outside linebackers, we had an injury to a young man by the name of Austin Nenrip to start the year. He was a starter for us going in, and he didn't, like I said, he separated his shoulder. I missed he has not played outside of last week. He came back finally. But Caleb Axman and Caden Wolf are two young men that have done a really good job at outside linebacker for us, and to be honest, have been a very, have improved as much as any group we have on our team, because Caden started for us at inside linebacker last year and we moved him to outside, and Caleb Axman was making his first ever start for us this year as a junior. And like I said, if you're an outside linebacker in our system, you're going to get picked on. Teams are going to try and kick you out. They're going to try to put you in conflict by reading you. They're going to flare running backs. They're going to wheel running backs. They're going to do things to put you in conflict. And those guys have done a really good job. And then interior, Cooper Skrubecki, he's a special talent. I think he's got high D2, potentially D1 AA. He's got that size. He's 6'2", 210 pounds, can hang clean 300 pounds. I mean, he's a stud, and he's got 4 interceptions already for us on this year. And that's, if you're getting 4 interceptions as a middle linebacker, you're doing something right.
Yeah, you are.
I think college coaches will really like, because if you can pass, drop, and stop the run, they'll find a place for you.
Now, go ahead.
And so Coop's done a heck of a job for us in there. He's our signal caller. He started for us as a sophomore. Brock Gleason, unfortunately, is done for the year with a shoulder injury, but he's one. And then, like I said, Charlie Johnson, who I spoke on a little bit earlier about stepping up with some injuries, done well. And our back half guys, Caden Rose, Riley Marsh, who's a stud on both sides of the ball. I haven't talked about him a whole lot, but I could talk about him, all night and how big of a stud he is. And I think every defensive coordinator in Class B would agree with me, who's got a scheme against him. Anthony Rellis, Caden Rose, Cole Murray, AJ Helfinger. We play cover 0. And and if you're going to play,
never 1 or 2 deep.
No, well, we will every now and then.
Not even safe situations like into that.
Safe situation, but you can't blitz like we do and play zone coverage. It just doesn't work. No. There's going to be holes, and quarterbacks are good nowadays. They're really good nowadays. I don't know if we'll play a bad quarterback all year. And if you're going to blitz people, they're going to find the hole in the zone. And so you gotta, if you're going to blitz, you gotta go 0, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And so that's why we do it. We bring 6 to 7 people per play. And
do you ever worry about screens and hot reads at all?
Oh yeah. absolutely. That'd be the first thing I'd do to us,
Right.
And so a screen or, trying to motion to get, Omos, Coach Turman always, and his brother Seth always do a great job of trying to find a way to put one of our middle linebackers on the wrong person, and they do a great job. But they've made me a better coach just from having to know, oh shoot, okay, we got to prepare for this, you know. So that's been a fun little chess game with that too, is trying to fix those. It's always interesting to see how teams try and put you in conflict with
your personnel that you have in zero.
Yeah, they do a heck of a job, and so from that standpoint, we run a lot of palms coverage. We call it blue, but it's cover 2, and then which is really cover 4. We run a cover 4.
You're dropping corners out.
Yeah, if the corners if we get 4 verticals, the corners are bailing trailing.
Yeah,
So it's a cover 4. But we also have what we call our cheetah package, which is a package that we ran when I was in college. It's a nickel personnel, and so we have those different packages
for late in the game and stuff like that.
Yeah, we have a prevent, and so we're not all cover 0, but we are a lot, and so we make our middle school run cover 0.
That's good.
We run our freshmen, and so most kids, when you tell them they're running cover 0, get nervous, but our kids just don't know any different.
Right.
And so we figure if we can teach them at a young enough age, when we start teaching them the zone stuff, they'll think it's quite, what is this? So, yeah.
What's
what do you mean? Yeah, hook curl. Yeah. So, God,
I got a flat. What's that?
I mean, I don't have to just run with this guy the whole time. Yeah. So,
do you ever worry about quarterback draws?
Empty. We do.
Yeah, because if you get everybody spread out sometimes.
Yeah. I'll tell you what
they
helps.
Run right by. I remember one time we blitzed somebody, and they ran right by the quarterback, tackled the halfback, and he went 60 yards for a touchdown on us.
Well, what's funny is you start figuring out what teams, like any defense, and like ours, we're a unique defense. You don't see our defense a whole lot.
We ran a lot of it. That's why I remember that.
Right, and you start figuring out what teams are going to do to you. And, we see the same stuff week in and week out. We really do, because as soon as somebody exposes something you're weak at, like anything, everybody else is going to do it. And so the number of times, we had 2 things that hurt us this year. Was a running back getting flared out of the backfield. We didn't have, early in the year we weren't great on our side. Like early in the year we weren't great on our assignments. And naturally, what do we see the next 3 weeks running? Flaring running backs, and so it's a big copycat league, you also know what to prepare for. I mean, when I'm creating our defensive playbook for the week, there's at least 10 plays in our binder that the other team has never showed, but you just assume they're going to try that the other teams have done that. Okay, that we've had success against us with this, so we got to make sure and do it. We rep speed option, wheel routes out of the running back, screens, running backs going, we call it a Woody route because Danny Woodhead used to run it, where he goes up the middle on a running back route, because they know that if your mic's on him, they try to, and so we rep all that stuff, and we may never see it, but we got to prepare kids, because we know that this is what teams do.
Those are the weaknesses.
Yeah, this is what
cover 0.
Yeah, this is what teams do to you guys,
right.
And so it makes us better. So, yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, Coach, it's been great having you on. Interesting. I love talking ball with you.
Yeah.
But wish you luck the rest of the year. I think it's going to be fun. It'll be fun through the playoffs. You stay healthy, you never know. You could be in that championship game. I think that's going to be the whole key with this crew this year, watching you guys all play, is if you stay healthy and see where you are when the
I told our boys we have the talent to do it this year. There's a million factors that play into it. Playoff draws, staying healthy,
fumbles, interceptions, injuries, all that stuff.
COVID. You never know. But
it's still out there.
It's still there.
Yeah.
But the exciting thing is we have a chance.
Right.
And that's what I told our boys. And you just got to take it one game at a time. And if we can do that, I think that it's going to be a good year for our guys.
Yeah, because even after Plattsmouth, you got another tough one.
You go create,
then you go put an umbrella up and have a cigar and relax.
Yeah, I can't do that. No, definitely not that. But to be fair, there's not a lot of that in Class B in general.
No,
everybody's.
And you guys are all in this area, so you all play each other.
Yeah, if you're close to the Metro, you're going to have to go into the Metro and play those teams, and vice versa, and then go out west to some of those other really tough teams, and so. It's tough, but like I said, it's Class B. Everybody's in the same boat. It's just kind of one of those deals, but that going in.
Good luck to you, Coach.
I appreciate
Wish
that.
you well.
Thank you very much.
Well. Thank you for your time. We're in push up. Okay, here we go. Hush! Hush! Pat Smith, they're coming for you. Hush!